Hey my scrappy friends, welcome to my channel today. I am participating in a hop for Kathy Loves to Scrap. So if you haven't checked out her channel, you definitely need to. And I'm going to say she is like the boss of doing shorts and stuff. Like I love that she loves to do that kind of stuff along with sharing all of her layouts and stuff. So she hit 500 subbies recently, and so she's doing a celebration hop and she's going to have a giveaway. So definitely follow the hop. Make sure you watch all the videos and see what the giveaway is. I'm not sure what she's giving away. But anyway, I love it when I can help support all of the YouTubers who are up and coming. And I remember being in that spot so many years ago. And it is just, it's just an honor that I get to come and help celebrate. So I am Scraplifting Kathy, and that layout that you've seen at the beginning or towards the beginning is the one that I'm using, and she pre-made this. So she was doing like a series, or she might still be doing it, where she was starting a layout before, or like at the end of her video, and then she would go and finish it. So she did some like torn stuff, and she's going to add those pieces onto hers. And mine, I used it as an inspiration like I do anytime I scrap lift or use a sketch, and then from there I just jump off and do a lot. She had a lot of like banners and stuff, and I'm going to end up not using the banners elements, but I'm going to use that Pink Fresh Studio paper and just kind of really play with the geometric shapes in lieu of using the banners. So, and actually, I thought she did a lot more embellishing. And then as I went back to look at the layout, I was like, oh, she didn't do nearly as much as I thought she did. And sometimes she doesn't. So, like, I love people who just love to add a ton of embellishments with no worries, because, it always ends up looking so great. And I know I have my own style and I love to layer, but like sometimes adding all the embellishments, you can get it a little bit carried away, but sometimes it just looks so pretty. So it's so hard not to. But anyway, so I'm cutting these up and trying to find a way to use it. I decided to roll the edge of that paper, and I did use this plaid because she had a plaid or something like that in hers, and I thought that would be kind of fun too, to kind of hit that aspect of things. And so I'm gonna hide this and add some of this stuff on pop dots, and we're gonna add so much more. I know she had a strip of paper kind of off to the one side of the layout underneath her photo. And she, I believe, just had one photo. She has a big one. And her title is underneath, where I added my title on the photo, but you'll see that. So, because honestly, this probably really didn't even need a title. I don't know. Do you guys feel like your layout's not done if you don't have a title? I know I kind of feel that way too, but there's so many times where I'm like, I don't know if it needed a layout or a title. I don't know if the title really matters to me. And like sometimes I just don't want to think of a title, like because this photo is my cat. He's sitting in the sunshine. I am using my For the Love of Homemade Kits, my April kit. This is the first time that I was able to like dig into this. It's been so busy. I've been so busy, I've hardly been able to scrapbook, which is my fault because I've put other things on my plate to prioritize besides getting stuff done. And last week, after Creativation and all that other kind of stuff, I ended up just being so tired. Actually, last week wasn't Creativation, was it? Anyway, during Creativation and like even the week before that, I was so busy. So I think I just needed to catch up on a lot of rest. So I did a lot of things that needed to be done with the business. aspect of things, but it's just been so nice to be able to get in my room and scrapbook, and so I've been doing a few things, and this is one of them because, like I said, I wanted to make sure that I could help in any way to get Kathy some more views. I know she just is so wonderful, and she is a great addition to our community, and so, why not celebrate her? So I'm just going to add this, and I'm glad I added that paper. And that bottom paper is from Stamping Up. And I'm glad I added it underneath the geometric pattern. And I don't know. I didn't calculate how I wanted to cut it. I just said, oh, what do I think is going to look good? What's going to fit in here? And so I also add this because, like I said, she had a piece of paper underneath the photo that was over there. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it being so close to that cluster. It probably could have been a little slower. It could have been a little bit like thinner and not sticking out as much. But I don't know. I just went with it. Sometimes I know I overthink things. And so when it comes to being on my page, and sometimes I don't. And I think this is just one of those times where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it, even though it probably could be better. And honestly, once I get more layers in here and stuff, I don't think you notice it as well. And I kind of make sure that second photo is over closer to that other side. And I did, like I said, I used 2 paid pictures. One is a 4x6, and I don't know what the other size is. So they're just from 2 different times. And my cat, Mako, he loves being in the sun. He loves looking outside. He loves just being in the way. He gets really mad when the dog doesn't want him to be in the way. And he starts fights with the dog too. But anyway, and every week I like to take a picture or 2 of him and send it to my older daughter. She stays with her dad mostly now. And so it's just a fun little thing, which I've done a layout about that, but I just thought this would be super fun. And I'm just going to layer in more of these papers. Honestly, I just do what kind of like feels good as I'm doing it. Like, okay, how much do I want? Where do I think this adds a little bit of extra something? And all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm like kind of ripping it, making it work for the space that I'm putting it in. And I'm not trying to be precise at all. I'm just using a lot of what I would like throw away, or those little bits of scraps and stuff. And if I had to give any advice to anybody who is doing layering and you don't know how to make it work, one, you have to think about how much do you care about the pattern showing. Because when I'm layering like this, I'm not necessarily thinking about the pattern. I'm thinking more about the color. Like, what can I add? What is going to add a little bit of interest to that spot? And I don't want to overwhelm. Like, there's already a lot going on in those little corners or like areas, which, like I said, mine are mimicking a little bit of the fact that she had banners. They are in separate corners. So her banners, she has the one on the bottom is on the right hand side, and then the one on the top is on the left hand side. So I did switch it up a little bit, and that was just what I thought I don't know. It's just what felt right. Honestly, that's kind of how I scrap, like I get in there and I'm not thinking about it. And I'm just like, oh, this will look good and this will look good. And, so anyway, so I'm just going to look for pieces in all of my embellishments and stickers and see, okay, what else do I have that I can add? I had that You're Rad like chipboard piece from Paige Evans. It's super old. And a lot of this stuff in this kit is older stuff. I mean, that Pink Fresh Studio stuff, gosh, I've had that for a long time. And then like the Pretty Little Studio pieces. There were only those 2 pieces that I thought worked well with the colors that I have. And since Mako is black and white, honestly, any color really works for him. And so I really like having like the peachy pink, orangey colors, like that coral with the pink and stuff. And I mean, he doesn't care if it's girl or guy or whatever. So I'm going to add some stuff to the sides, and I went to go cut that and it started coming off. So I had to re-put it back on there. So I'm just like looking to see, okay, where do these things fit? Where do they add a little bit of interest? And layering is my thing. So anyway, I was talking about like layering and how much you want stuff to see. Because if you want a pattern to be seen, that either needs to be up at the top, right? Or like up towards the top, or more of it needs to stick out. And so I find that I try to pick patterns and colors to add just bits and pieces of that. I'm really just looking for the color. I'm not necessarily looking for a certain pattern. And so that's why I had that geometric one on the top. I wanted that pattern. It is quite busy, but once I start adding in some of the other colors, it helps. I feel like it helps tone it down just a little bit. I mean, it's still a lot, don't get me wrong, because there are a lot of layers just within this whole thing. But I have a lot of fun with it. I was going to say, I have super fun with it. Gosh, guys. But I just have fun with it. And, you know, and like for me, like I said, I'm more thinking about the colors, not so much the patterns but if I want a pattern to show, that's where you got to think, how much of it do I want to stick out? And because if it's a pattern that you need to be able to see it, right? So, but anyway, that's why I think using scraps are a good way to use for layers, because it's already a scrap piece. You're probably not worried so much about like cutting into a whole big piece. I mean, I don't really care, but anyway, so I'm just finishing this up, and that bottom, I was just looking through this Maggie Holmes and seeing like what other pieces do I have in here. There are some that the colors work and not all of them do. Well, and I don't want it to make this super girly, but I do use the gold letters, and I'm just titling it Love This, and it says, "You are my happy." He makes everybody happy in this house. He's a snothead sometimes, and so I use both of these little hearts. And this is the great thing about using a pack like this, is that there are so many similar things that I can just balance it off and just add a little bit. And with all that layering, I really didn't need a lot of other aspects, like other embellishments. So here is my layout. Definitely make sure you hop along, and definitely make sure that you check out Kathy's channel, and her channel is KathyLoves2Scrap. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to help celebrate with you, Kathy, and I just can't wait to celebrate with you for another milestone. And I will see you guys later. Have a great scrappy week.